Hello, hello, everybody. Well, wait till they come in. All right, there we go. And I'm gonna go ahead and turn down the volume. Oops. Get you over here. All right, perfect. All right, I'm just gonna wait for people to come into the chat. What is going on? And I'm gonna turn down the master volume a little bit so we can hear each other. All right, we got a little bit of a green issue, but no problem. All right, we'll wait for some people to come in. So Benny, what I was thinking was we could start with mosaic lines, and if we want to, we can skip the cutscenes and just go straight into the straight into the gameplay. What do you think?
Whatever works for you works for me. I love it all.
Hey, Freakova, what's going on, baby? Hey, Caroline. Bestie, hey, bestie. All right, hold on. Let's switch to multi-stream really quick. Let me get that really quick. And if you guys don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and scoot my green screen up a little bit more so there's less green show. But everybody for who's coming in, please say hi to Bennie Terry. He's the executive producer for Oddworld Soulstorm and also one of the most wonderful people to work with. And actually, 5-star biker, really.
I'll take that. I'll take that any day.
Yeah,
5-star works for me.
Do you guys like his background? Do you guys like his background? We wanted to do like a little Oddworld background. Hey, Shade, how you doing? So Shade Meadows on Twitch is one of our biggest fans. And then Mudomo on Twitch, hello. Hi, Mr. G says. Hi, Tony Silver, what's going on? Hey, Nikos. Mr. G says you do have this menu on console. You do have it. It's the same thing across the whole thing. Hey, Strebergesicht. Hopefully I said that right on Twitch. Hi, Nico. How are you guys? You guys are going to make my Tuesday a very good Tuesday. These are always my favorite times of the week. But while I fix my green screen behind me and scoot it up a bit, Benny, if you want to go ahead and talk about yourself 1 second.
Yeah, I'll do that a little bit brief. And just so you know, Ashley, I'm hearing an echo, so I'll try and fix that in the background. So my name is Bennie Terry. I'm the executive producer for Oddworld Soulstorm, as well as other IP that we've been developing over the years. And so happy, so glad to be here and be invited to talk to you guys about how we built Soulstorm, answer some of your questions, and just have a good time.
All right, guys, 1 second. It turns out the YouTube title is not updated. I'm about to write a personal letter to YouTube. 1 second. Let me go ahead and update for you guys. Let's see. Let's do that really quick because I want people to see that we are live with Oddworld Soulstorm. Hold on. Let's see if I can edit the... It turns out the YouTube... Let me see if I can edit the thing off here. If not, I'll go to Moobot and see if that works. So sorry about this, Benny. Welcome to streaming. Welcome to streaming.
All good. So in the meantime, while you focus on the technical challenges, I'm watching the feed, and so if there's any questions for me while we get things straightened out, I'm happy to jump in and answer them. If you guys would like to ask a few questions to me.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Okay. Let me see if I can change this, guys. If not, let's see. Edit video. Haha! I think we got it. I think I got it. Ha 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 ha. Nope, that's not what I wanted. I wanted this. Perfect. So unfortunately, it seems Streamlabs is not friendly to the idea of changing YouTube titles, but we got it. I got it. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. Welcome to streaming. Okay, guys. So... please let us know how the audio is. Someone left a very telling comment on one of our streams. I had a lot of gains, so hopefully you like my new mic. I got a new mic, and it's not in my face. It's right on my desk, and it is an Elgato Wave 3, and I love it. So Benny is in the top left corner of the stream. Can y'all see him? I just want to make sure y'all can see him. Let's see. I'm checking YouTube. He should be here. Very telling comment. You are not. I cannot see you, Benny. Hold on. Dan, okay, hold on. Let's see why that is. Oh, okay, hold on 1 second. 1 second, guys. I'm just going to turn this off really quick. Sorry about that. I thought I had window capture. Oh, okay. Let me see. Let's see. Nope, that's not what I wanted. There we go. I got you, Benny. Sorry about that. Here he is. My bad, guys. Okay. All right, let's do this. Let's get this party started. Okay, so we got him. We got him. He's right here. Can y'all hear him? Okay. There we go.
With my gorgeous background. That's the best part of sharing the video.
He's the best. Hold on one second. I'm gonna make sure he's more in here. There we go. Bennie Terry, that's who he is. Okay, so what I was thinking we could do is we can start with Mosaic Lines. And guys, do you guys want to watch the cutscene or do you want me to skip it? I kind of want to hear what you have to say. Let me make sure, Benny. Let me see while they're waiting. Do you guys want to watch the cutscene or do you want... Okay, here we go. Yes, it is. You are up. Yay! Just checking. Okay.
We got just watch it, so let's watch it.
Let's watch it. Let's watch it. Let's watch the new cutscene. All right, new game. I'll do level select, right on Mosaic, and we are starting from the very beginning. So, Benny, could you tell us more about this intro scene? And we'll also get into more Q&A questions, but I find this scene to be very emotional, and it really sets the stage for what Abe is going to have to go through in his journey inward and outward. How did you want to approach, well, not just this scene, but the scene with Abe and the shaman, but this scene, it's a blast. It's a blast, the beginning scene, which is all the slugs going after the train. Hello, Dark Shadow. How are you?
And it was incredible doing it. So hopefully you guys can hear me. So this scene was one of the first cinematics we did that set the tone for all other cinematics that we did post, right? And the feeling, the excitement, the energy, what Lauren was going for initially was like, Abe, Alf, and Toby are on the run, right? And there's danger around them, ever present, right? And that crescendo of energy just kind of builds and builds and builds as you go through the game, right? Until you reach a point where Abe has fully realized his abilities and what his purpose is. But at this moment, you know, none of that has happened yet. And so it just sets the story, it sets the tone for the game. You know, and man, what an amazing piece to work on. So this was, for me as a cinematic film guy, I loved helping to assist Lauren to direct as well as to deal with the technology as well.
That's a great answer. I like the crescendo. That's a good, yeah, because it is a crescendo. And then it kind of goes into this pause, this slow motion where they're kind of beat up. And then they introduce, and this is how you are introduced to Abe. And it's in the middle of the game. And you're like, how did we get here? What's going on? Open up! There we go.
That's right. And just some backstory here. So all of this work was done by a team, an animation team called Superseed. They didn't exist. It was a good buddy of mine, Jason Shum, that we had been talking for years about figuring out how to move out of like the corporate world of like Blizzard and other companies that he had worked for in the past, Riot, etc., right? And how to build his own company. And so we just had this idea of like, let's do this for Soulstorm, right? Let's build your company to produce Soulstorm cinematics, right? And this was the starting point for his company as well as for us, and building these, what I consider, you know, stellar cinematic work.
It is. I've been able to have a discussion with Jason Schum, and guys, coming your way is some dev diaries, and Jason Schum is the star of one of them, and he adores Oddworld. He loved working with us, and he's particularly proud of the cinematics. And I think the cinematics, as a student of animation myself, the cinematics is what it makes me cry. It makes me cry, like certain scenes. But we did have a good question. Do you happen to know if this masked shaman character, the character coming up in the next scene in Soulstorm, is meant to be the same character as Big Face from the original Abe's Odyssey? Great question. And so, you know, there's
there's a lot of mystery around the shaman, and I don't want to give away too much of the story, but what I'll say is, there's definitely someone special underneath the mask. I can't reveal that directly without giving away a lot of stuff that we're doing in the future.
Wait a minute. I don't know anything about this. Wait a minute. See, this is what I tell you guys. They don't tell me some stuff sometimes. Well, guess what? After this call, I'm a bug you real quick, and I'm gonna tell you, hey, what's going on? What's going on? Oh my goodness. Hi, Dark Shadow. Hi, Hansi Hoon. What's going on, everybody? Hi, Antonio. Hi, how are you doing from Facebook? And another good question I just got is, why does Abe always have a why am I here face? Like, why am I here? I don't know what I'm doing.
It's like better than
Why am I? I think it's from his humble beginnings. Abe didn't really ask to be on this journey. He wasn't aware of what his true destiny and calling is, and so he kind of has that look like, why am I here? Why am I being chosen for these things? Why is everyone following me, right? What is my purpose, right? And he just doesn't know, and it's an exploration, not only internally but outwards, right, on how he saves his people. And that's sorry, I'm hearing an echo, Ashley, but just so you know, that's the core of why he has that why am I here face.
I love that. Like, why am I the Messiah? Why was I chosen? Are you hearing an echo of yourself or of me?
No one else even remembers her, or...
You are no longer a slave, Abe. You have worn those your entire life. But you...
Also, there's another...
Just of myself.
Just of yourself. You sound great on my end. I'm just letting you know. You sound fantastic. And Dan's telling me no issue, so I think you're okay. But I have another question. Do you think that with all the pressure and responsibility Abe has on his shoulders, at some point he might snap, or is he too kind-hearted to turn to a darker path?
Yes.
Hey, Gavin. Hey, Dark
But
Shadow.
how can I just...
Your voice must grow for the lies to fade.
I think Abe is always close to snapping. It's the pressure is enormous. It's it's life altering and changing for him, as well as everyone that he'd love to save. And so that pressure is just putting him on the very edge of just breaking. But he never does, because we don't want to see him go to the dark side. That's not in his character, and we want him to always be this the anti-hero, if you will. He's timid. He doesn't have muscles. He's not this muscly, hulking character. We want empathy to be driven as his primary purpose in his character arc.
Well, actually, about that question, someone had the great question of, do you think with all the pressure and responsibility Abe has on his shoulders, at some point he might snap, or is he too kind-hearted? That was perfect. Lily Biscus, you got your question answered, and it's good to know our good boy Abe is never going to go to the dark side. That is Oddworld canon right here. He's going to be a good boy forever, good blue boy forever.
Only for this moment.
He is a sweet, gentle bird boy. Yes, Sudica.
Is over.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, guys, 1 second. Oh, Benny, just so you know, I unmuted myself on Zoom, so you should be able to hear me and hear the questions a little bit sooner. Sorry about the wait time between questions, guys. Just let me know if you can hear me through Zoom, and then we can have, you can hear me. Sorry, my favorite part.
I am sorry, Abe, but it really is up to you. Now it begins, Abe. The fate of your entire people is up to you.
Okay, so Benny, just let you know, we had a great comment. Abe doesn't have muscles. Have you looked at his ab? And then here's another one before we get started on the gameplay. If you could
Here we go.
Yeah, if you could combine the universe of Abe with another universe to help him on his journey, who would it be and why? All right, here we go.
Yeah, well, you know, I'd say one of my all-time favorite characters is Stranger. I'd love to see a team up there because you know Stranger's background is he's a protector, right? Just like Abe in many ways, the core arc is similar. Although Stranger is a little more aloof and challenging personality to deal with, right? He sees the true heart in people, right? And I think Abe and Stranger would be a great combination to combine in some later adventures.
I agree. All right, guys, hold on. Let me get my water equipped. Here we go. All right, let me see. Hold on. For other questions now. And Benny, we talked about this earlier. Why is Abe blue? Is it the depression?
And let me just say,
or the tan?
you know, Stranger was supposed to be in Soulstorm, but you know, his calendar was too busy. He decided not to make the casting call.
That's the first time I'm hearing about this, guys. What the heck? Let me see. Woo! Okay.
Yeah, so why is Abe blue? Great question. So there's practical reasons for it, but there's also the narrative elements. And so, you know, we wanted Abe to have a non-human color, right? So he didn't identify with, you know, what we perceive as kind of being our normal reality. So we wanted to push that further. The other advantage is that, you know, it also represents his plight, right? His pain, his sadness, right, of what's happening to his people, of everyone that follows him. So that's how we tie in the story to the color language for him. The other advantage is in the world, when you have, you know, dozens of followers that are green following you, Abe always stands out, right? So that blue allows the player to identify him in game space as you're playing through.
Oh, yeah, that's so people always have their own reasons, and I love both the fanon and canon reasons. But could you tell us more the difference in the enhanced edition? Oh no, I almost got on fire. Oh, excuse me. You guys, I'm flying.
Yeah, when you say the difference, you mean in relation to Abe or just the game itself?
The game itself. My apologies.
Yeah, wonderful. So, you know, a lot of things that came through in the Enhanced Edition, things that the team wanted to do was to further polish the experience from beginning to end. You know, in development, you have challenges along the way related to time, budget, right, resources, those kind of things. And so one of the big arcing goals for the team was like, how can we make the game better play experience from beginning to end? How can we make that just push it further so that we were like, this feels really, really good and we're really happy with what we're developing. And so the Enhanced Edition focused around, you know, resolving a lot of, you know, bugs that we just didn't have the time to get to previously, and then adding additional content was another big goal, right? So Soulstorm pushes that 2.9D perspective where you're seeing the whole world expand in front of you, right? And you see your starting point as Abe is this little guy, right, in this overwhelmingly big world, and then you can see where you start and all the way down to the end from a storytelling narrative element of where you finish, right? And so for the Enhanced Edition, we wanted to make it simpler, right? Harken back to the classic Oddworld gameplay and bring more 2.5D back, but really that hard, challenging platforming experience, right? Where we you know, remove some of Abe's features, right? Remove some of his capabilities and just make it about puzzle platforming, right? And that seems to have gone really well. Like the team really loved doing those levels, and it was a big win for them because, you know, they love exploring those possibilities. And so, you know, I think it was a success all the way around for the enhanced edition to include that content.
I also feel like a lot of our developers and people who we worked with are actually big personal fans of Oddworld, so there was always that feeling of we're going to put our love into this and we're going to do the best we can. Also, during the production of Oddworld Soulstorm, for which reasons did the name change from Comet Depot to Fico Depot? And this person doesn't mind the change, he just wants to know why. Also, Benny, if you need to, I'm also talking on Zoom, so if you got me muted on Zoom.
So, great question. You know, and I know there'll be a delay here, so you'll hear the answer in a minute. But you know, it's.
For a second, I thought he froze.
I can hear you, Ashley.
Okay.
There's just a delay, right? And I see texts and other things that are popping up as people are trying to connect with me.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to focus right here. So I apologize for the delay. But hopefully I can just walk through the question one by one, and there won't be too much of a delay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so can you ask that question again?
Yes, during the production of Oddworld Soulstorm, for which reasons did the name change from Comet Depot to Fico Depot? And the person doesn't mind the change, he just wants to know why. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so, you know, Comet Depot is an acronym, right? And so, you know, I'm not going to go so far as to say what the acronym is. It's, you know, it's a little mystery inside Oddworld that reflects the real world, right? But that was the main reason for the change. And so, but we found that was, you know, maybe a bit too aloof, and so we decided to switch back because it was classic. It spoke to what fans were familiar with, but Comet Depot had a very special meaning that has a real world kind of importance to it.
Awesome, and I had a great question in the chat. What are your thoughts on an Oddworld open world RPG?
A lot of thoughts around that. That's, you know, these are all possibilities that we've been having a conversation around, and you know, RPGs as well as different styles of gameplay. And so Oddworld is as a whole, we're open to the possibilities.
Oh, nice. That's great to hear. Also, is there any chance of Oddworld Soulstorm porting to the Switch?
Great question. And so, you know, I can't say anything, you know, and I'm sorry, sometimes I can't say things that are, you know, kept under wraps. But what I can say is that everyone will be pleasantly surprised for the new platforms that we push out to in the next few months.
Here's another great question from Anti01. You made some great cutscenes in Soulstorm. We know. Have you ever thought about making an Oddworld movie or a mini animated series? And I have to say, this is one of our most asked questions, and we love it. We love it. Oh, I'm supposed to do this part.
Almost daily we talk about you know, figuring out how to make that happen. And so you know, if anyone has you know, some high level connects at Netflix or any of the streaming networks, we're all ears. But it's definitely something that's really important and near and dear to our heart. Like making the cinematics for Soulstorm, it's the emotional storytelling that really gets Lauren excited, right? And myself as well. Like we come out of film and we speak that language, and so the more opportunities we can do that, and ultimately the goal for Abe is, you know, as a video game experience, right, we love crafting the narratives into those style of games, but we'd love to see Abe's story arc and his journey expand onto a larger and larger platform and a larger screen. And so the idea of making an animated series, right, or any linear content that aligns to uh, bigger presence for Abe and the Oddworld universe is definitely in the forefront of our minds. And there's a lot of conversations that are going on in the background about how we can make those things happen.
Oh, I love that. And because that is a question I get asked the most on social media. And it breaks my heart when I have to, it breaks my heart, my texting came out, when I have to tell them we want to do this. This is something we want to do. It just we haven't had the opportunity yet, right? And and then speaking of animation and special effects, which of the cutscenes in Oddworld Soulstorm is your personal favorite, Benny? And I'm interested to hear this one too. Thanks, Gabbett. I'll turn it down.
Yeah, and so let me circle back to that first one though and say it's not just it's not that we haven't had the opportunity exclusively. It's that there's a lot of exciting stuff that's happening right now that's pushing linear content to the forefront, right? And so it's not just the opportunity, but it's the tools, it's what we're capable of doing. Like all the cinematics you see here were rendered in engine, right? And so that kind of level of fidelity and what I'll call near feature film quality, right? Or definitely TV series quality. We're seeing that as the tools advance, as the capabilities of real-time engines make content productions more efficient, so that they cost less, right? And then we need fewer resources to execute what you see here. The more likely it is that something like Abe or some part of Oddworld's universe is on a bigger screen, on a larger platform, is definitely something that we're exploring at this moment in time, because there's unique opportunities right now. Like, for instance, I don't know if you noticed, but there's been acquisitions of companies like Weta, right, and others that have been in the feature film, visual effects, category for quite some time, right? And they're kind of legendary in that space. And now they're moving over to bring their tools into game engines to allow some of the linear content production, like you see in our cinematics, to make it more efficient, more streamlined, and ultimately more visually compelling, which is the core pillar of Oddworld. Like, we enjoy not just telling a story, but we want to make that experience as beautiful as we can, right? And that goes into which cinematic is my favorite, and I'd have to say it's really when Abe meets the Keeper, right? And that moment when he meets the Keeper, and that environment and that narrative, and then when he gets his tattoos and unlocks his special abilities, it's kind of an emotional moment for me, right? Because you see the culmination of his journey, going through just the isolation of not knowing, to finally being at the point where he's unlocking what his journey is, right? What his purpose is. And when he walks through that environment so timidly, and yes, he does have muscles. He's not, a hulking character that has, Arnold Schwarzenegger like muscles, right? But he still feels small in an overwhelmingly large world that's just, its whole goal is to kind of destroy him. But there's this moment where he connects with his past there. And I think, I love the visual communication of what happened in that space, like the golden honey lake that you see below, right? And just that lighting, the atmosphere is just so gorgeous. But his connection with the Keeper, and then ultimately getting his tattoos, right, and unlocking Shrike abilities and other things, that for me is my absolute favorite.
Great answer. I love that scene too with the honey cave. I call it the honey cave. So also another question is, why does Abe have hair on his head but the other muds don't? Excuse me, guys. These are great questions. These are great questions, guys. Yes.
Great question. And so, so it's actually not hair, but they're feathers. And so, through Abe's journey, and some of them do, and you'll see, like when you see the keeper, right? The keeper has feathers as well, and it shows just her connection with kind of the deeper power that is part of their culture, part of what makes them special, right? And part of what unlocks Abe's abilities. So that connection, that wisdom is transferred through not only, age and from generation to generation, and that story has unfolded over the millennium. But you see the oldest version of the species of the followers, or from the shaman to the keeper, right? They have the largest number of feathers, and then Abe is just starting his journey, right? So at some point, he will have more and more feathers, right, in his story arc, but that's not where he's at currently, right? So I can't give away too much in the future, but all characters evolve to some point, right? And who knows where Abe's story will end.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so very important question. Who's the best Budokan? Abe, Alf, or Toby?
You got it, bud.
Oh, I love this scene, y'all. I love this scene. Oh, hey, Ace. How you doing? How you doing, sweetie? Everybody welcome me, Strainer Relia. What's going on? And I'm seeing your questions, guys. We're just getting them one at a time. One at a time. All right, and I'll turn down the volume right now. Thank you so much, Gabbett, for letting me.
Good question. I have my own picks, but I'll say they're all special to us, but secretly Abe's the best. He's got the most power, and the weight of the world's on his shoulders. But I got to tell you, I love each one of them have a uniqueness in the universe, right, in their character. But when it comes to VO, right, what I'll say is, Lauren enjoys the most, doing Alf's voice, because it has a certain like funniness to it, just in the way that he does it, that just brings out a lot of character. And Lauren does all of the voices, the large percentage of all the voices in the game. And so normally you'd go out and you'd hire a crew of different voice talent to do each character individually, but Lauren's able to just get into character to each one. And watching him get into character for like Alf and for Toby, it's just such a unique experience, right? I wish I could share that with you guys, but Alf is definitely, like, listening to him do all of Toby's VO or Alf specifically, it just makes me laugh in the studio. Like I sit there and I just start laughing, because he'll make these sounds and he'll make these voices that are just unique to Alf, and it right away, no matter if you're next to him or all the way across the studio, you can hear it, and it's just funny.
I have sat across Lauren, and he'll be talking, and I'll hear it, hey, how you doing? And I can hear all his characters, and it kind of messes with me a little bit. Hold on, I have another great question for you. 1 second. There was a great question about what made us want to do kind of an economy-focused games in terms of Moolah and in terms of scrounging. Is that going to continue into our other games? Is that going to be built to the world? I apologize if I'm not getting the question exactly right, but I do think it's very interesting. Hold on, guys. I got this. Yeah.
Yeah, and so Moolah has always been part of Oddworld's universe, right? And so, but we went deeper with Soulstorm in trying to expand economy systems, as well as scavenging, for and crafting systems as well. Not just because those things are popular to some degree. It's more of, we were looking at the landscape and trying to understand, like, it takes a lot of effort for Oddworld to build a single level, right? Mm-hmm. And when you play through a linear story game, that one level maybe will take you an hour to explore, and you have some unlockables, some hidden things you may find, and that may trigger you to replay. But generally, replay of the same story, if that's what you were looking for, is relatively low, right? And so what we wanted to do was give players more opportunity to replay and to find more and to spend more time in each level, not just to monetize things, which isn't part of Soulstorm's model, but to just allow them to explore and to feel a sense of accomplishment, right? Not just in finding things, but in taking those items, crafting them into, new interesting chemistries, and then using those things in the world. And that's just something that's relatively new to the franchise, right? And so that exploration was looking at the world at large of where games are at today, right, and understanding that a lot of time gets spent, in other IP where you're playing the same levels over and over again, but those aren't story games, right? And so the story games tend to have what we call a shorter tail, because you generally will start playing, get the story, and then move on, right? But if you want to find more, right, to find more interesting elements inside of the world, then you need other hooks, right, like scavenging, crafting, right, and Moolah as a currency, to give that motivation and that sense of accomplishment, for players to go through and experience those levels and continue to play them.
Love it, love it. There's one level, and I gotta remember the name of it, that I tested with you back in March of April 2019, and it's right here in my head. But I could probably play that level, like I probably know that level like the back of my hand. But also, just another question: is there a chance to see new designs of fleeches, scrabs, or paramites one day? Is it getting hot in here? Oh yeah, it's getting hot in here. I don't know, guys. I'm doing this. I'm not doing too bad. I'm not doing too bad. Let's see. I found a secret area.
Great question. And what I'd say is, fleeches, and the different, and scrabs, paramites, etc. We probably won't redesign them because they're core to Oddworld's universe. But what we'd like to see is that universe expand into new characters, new creations that Lauren and the Oddworld team dreams up. And so keeping the classic elements true and identifiable is also a core component. Often what we'll do is we'll take a look at a new character or an old one and go, well, how can we improve this, right, to modernize it? Is it something that is a timeless design that we want to continue and perpetuate into the future? And if it is, which the ones you mentioned are very core to Oddworld's universe, we'll generally look at like, how can we increase their resolution? How can we make them, stand out for next gen consoles, right? Those kind of things. How can we position them? And we spend a lot on our cinematics, as you saw, but a lot of that was positioning Oddworld IP to be seen in a favorable light for linear content for film or television series, because pushing them to that point meant that you could start breaking the bounds of like, it's just a game, into I could see this as a movie, right? I could see this as something like Pixar would do, right? So that's always our driving motivation when it comes to character design, is we look at them from a narrative standpoint first, and from the historical of like, what is the universe and how do we want to improve it, right? And it always culminates to, is this a character that we'd like to see if we made something specific as a movie or as a TV series? What would we need to invest to bring the quality of those characters up to that level? And so we generally do that first, and then we work back to the game and figure out how to integrate them properly in an optimized fashion for the gameplay experience.
I would love that. Okay, and there's another. We have so many great questions, you guys. I'm so excited. Here's another great one. There's a lot of players who are enjoying Soulstorm, and the game brought back the nostalgia back for them from '97. How does it feel as a developer to work on a game that with a legacy like that? And I know for someone who works for Oddworld, I know I personally am in awe of it. But how do you feel, Benny? Because Oddworld's pretty great. It's one of the originals on PlayStation. Thank you, Vanaja. Thank you. excuse me.
Well, for me, it's a lifelong dream. And so I'll share a little bit of my history and not bore you guys too much here. But, early in my career, I worked for a company called Rhythm and Hues. And, they're really the pioneers of animated creatures and characters, right? From Babe, Life of Pi, right? And the list goes on and on. And when I first arrived at Rhythm and Hues, there were two people that I wanted to learn from, or at least meet, right? They were really my idols in many ways. I mean, not blowing too much, smoke. I won't say the rest of the words because I know this is being recorded, but for Lauren and Sherry, I wanted to meet them, and I just wanted to understand their thinking, because these were two innovators, two, what I'll say, mavericks at the time, that everyone in the industry was talking about. It's about film. Games don't matter. It's all about film. And even when I first applied to the company, I had a lot of game content on my portfolio, and they rejected me because they said, come back and see us when you have some real film experience, right? But here were two highly talented creatives and executive producer that were like, no, actually, we're taking our years of traditional linear media experience, and we're going to flip that into a video game, I'll say exploration of what's possible in that space, right? And that was just unheard of at the time. And so when I got to R&H, I was like, these are the two people I want to meet. I want to sit down and understand and pick their brains on, why do that? Like, no one is saying that, but it was aligning with how I was thinking, right? Like, I saw games as the future in many ways, right? Not just economically and business, but it was non-linear content that had a very long tail from the play perspective. And I was like, you can watch a movie for 1 hour, 2 hours, and then put it down and never watch it again. But a game you could play for 10, 20, 30, 50 hours, right? And that's huge. And people want to play it over and over again, right? And there's all these different things you can do to integrate those things in. And so the moment I got to Rhythm and Hues, I looked for Lauren and Sherry, and they had just left to go and create Oddworld, right? And so our paths just crossed in the night, and I said, if I ever get an opportunity to work with them, I would be chomping at the bit to do it. I'm just dying to make that happen. And it took almost a decade, if not more. And it just so happened that a project that I was the technical director and art director on, Lauren and Sherry walked into the studio as creative consultants, right? And that was kind of history in the making, right? And so that moment, when we started collaborating and working together, Lauren told me, he said, look, if you ever at some point in your life decide, you want to move on and do something else, just let me know, and I'd love to give you a recommendation, because we had a good working relationship together, and so that moment came for me in my own career where I was like, I think I'm ready to do something else. Let me reach out, which I'd never done before in my life. I was like, people give you a recommendation if they want to, but I just never asked. And so this was the one time where I actually asked, and the first response was, well, instead of a recommendation, why don't you come and run my studio, right? And that was an amazingly humbling experience for me, right? Because I was just looking for him to say, a few nice words, right? and now all of a sudden I'm faced with kind of living my dream, which is I get to run an Oddworld studio, right? Building Oddworld IP off of games that I grew up with and fell in love with, and just had so much, I was so proud at that moment to have that opportunity, right? That I just jumped in. I didn't even know what it entailed exactly, or what, what the whole job description was going to be, how many people I'd be managing, or all these titles. I just said yes, right? And then, next thing you know, I was telling my wife and kids, I was like, hey, so Dad's going to be gone for a little while because the studio's in San Francisco, and at that time I lived in LA. And I didn't even work out any of those details. It's just there's some things in your life that it's worth the leap and you've wanted it for so long that when the opportunity presents and it's knocking on your door, you open and you jump and you just take the leap of faith, right? And then figure it out as you go along, right? And that's been my experience with Oddworld. And fortunately, you know, it's all worked out, you know, and everyone seems to still enjoy working with me. So I'll take that as a win.
I very much enjoy working with you. In fact, some of my best memories are of us hanging out at the studio, and nothing can replace that feeling of us being excited together, of us working together. And as someone who's still relatively new, and I've known Benny for a while, I adore Benny. Benny is a wonderful person inside and outside of the studio. He's just a great guy. He's just a generally very great, very smart guy. Someone you would want to go to for with your problems, questions, help. He's there, and Benny's just like 1, 2, 3, you know, and that's what I adore about him. But nothing can replicate that feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm working on an Oddworld game and seeing the early cinematics and, you know, getting all the details. It's great. Okay, but more questions. Someone's like, I wonder all the time, how old is Abe now? I started the game
and we
when I
love
was
you
young.
as well, Ashley.
I love you. I started the game when I was young. Get this feeling. I will feel really old with the answer. Like, how old do you think Abe is? I don't know how Muds are aged, to be honest. That may just be kind of like however old you feel he is. But I would love to hear. We would love to hear your opinion. Not I. We.
Something's creeping around. You hear it?
Let's see. Hold on, guys. See, he's got muscle. I could never do that. Maybe I should do a workout with Abe.
Yeah, you know, that's when I'll probably have to leave for Lorne, because I don't have an immediate answer for that. It's you know, what I can say is he's at least 20 plus years old, but beyond that, I don't know in Oddworld years how old Abe really is. So that's a great question. That one stumped me. You know what? I'm actually going to reach out to Lorne right now in the background and see if I can get an answer.
Great job. Yes, we're very lucky. We have instant access to Lorne. Haha. Is there any chance of Munch and Squeak making an appearance? And we love those boys so much. So what do you think? Come on, Abe. Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby. Yeah, I'm not doing too bad, huh? Look at me. Now, let's get this guy. Let's get this guy. Haha.
There's always a possibility. I mean, you know, we're on a daily basis looking at what is the future of Oddworld, right? How do we what do we want to do next, and which casts, which characters do we want to figure out the chemistry around for building new IP? So that's always an ongoing conversation. So there's always a chance. What I can say is, you know, we just haven't locked down anything definitive yet. Okay,
yeah. And it's kind of a blessing and a curse to have such lovable characters. It's like you and Lorne made this interesting world with all these relatable characters who are so out of the box and so relatable, and then it's like, okay, gosh, hold on. We can only work at one game at a time. Also, on that note, will we ever see Stranger, Abe, and Munch in the same game? Like you said earlier, Stranger, he was called for the audition, but he never showed up. But is there any chance for all three, or is that just gonna right now?
So I got an answer from Lorne directly, right, on Abe's age. And, you know, he said he's in his 20s. And then I had to follow up because it was such a good question. I had to follow up and ask, how old is the keeper, right? And his response was very old, right? So the keeper is incredibly old, but probably somewhere around 200 years old.
Well, they look damn good. Excuse my language.
And Ashley, if you could repeat that last question, that would be great, because there's a delay, so I couldn't hear it.
No problem. 1 second. Any chance of Munch and Squeak making an appearance in the future? No, actually, Munch and Squeak making an appearance in the future games. Did I already ask that one? No, I did ask that one. I apologize. Will we ever see Stranger, Abe, and Munch in the same game? My apologies, guys. My apologies. I'm looking at this list of questions. That's my bad.
Yeah, I think I answered that one already.
Yeah. My bad. Sorry, guys. Let's see. Hold on, guys.
Well, let me say, I would love to see that. And so, again, as much as I would love to answer that and say definitively yes or no, I can't say that today. But I'm a big fan of that group, and I'd love to see Stranger as well as the other cast members, in as many kind of cross universe connections that we can make, in Abe's story arc as well as theirs, right? So however that comes about, it's too early for me to tell right now, but I know that we've been having lots of conversations around how to kind of cross pollinate those different characters into a cohesive story.
All right, and this question is coming up quite a bit. Let's see. Hold on, I just had it. My apologies, guys. Will we? Okay, hold on. Sorry, guys. Will we see an expansion into merch or comics or novels? We do have a merch store, guys, on GameT.uk, I believe. I believe that's it, GameT.co.uk, and there is official Oddworld merch there. I can post a link in there, but I believe we are working on more merch. But I will let Benny answer that question regarding comics and novels.
I think I'm hearing things. Something's creeping around. You hear it? I think I heard something down there. You? What up? Ah, sucker. You
All right,
can't
hold on,
stop
guys.
mine.
Again, on the business side of most of our next steps, I can't really talk publicly, unfortunately, and I apologize for that. It's it's challenging because until deals are signed, right, until we have a definitive yes or no on things, it's premature to speak about it. And you guys know how it goes. It's like we say we're going to do something or it's going to happen, and then it doesn't, and everyone's everyone's just upset, right?
Yeah.
And so we don't want that. But all I can continue to say is that we're always encouraging others, right, to find opportunities to be able to create more merchandise, because Oddworld is one of those unique IPs that in our universe there isn't a large a massive amount of merchandise that can be purchased. There's some depth in a few areas, but not a wide breadth of possibilities. And so we'd like to see those things expanded in the future. And it comes down to just connecting our different partners and making sure that we're all aligned on those same goals.
I agree, and that's the hardest part of my job is people ask these great questions. Y'all really ask these great questions, and it's like, I can't tell you guys, because if it doesn't happen, then we look bad. And also, business happens. People are talking behind the scenes. You need to have a good opportunity to bring up new information, and we want to do it right. We don't want to give you bits at a time if it's not even going to work out. But a couple more questions, and then we got to start wrapping up, guys. But these are amazing questions. Do you know when did Abe discover his chant ability for possessions? Someone did mention that, because in Abe's Odyssey, it just happened. He just knew how to chant. Do you know, or is that a Lorne question? Oh, shoot.
It's probably a Lauren question because I can't speak to exactly when it happened, but great question, and so I'll ask right now, and hopefully we can move on to another one. I'll circle back.
Yeah, yeah, because that is a lore question. Also, I did have a question. I think I can answer this one. Asesiando, in the showcase from 2019, Abe got bad karma. Yes, that was back in 2019, but we decided to change that because we discovered playing that way was too stressful and not fun, and we wanted the game to be fun. Benny can add to that if he wants to. Let's see. And someone read somewhere that Mudos. That's also probably a lore question, to be honest. Most lore questions are lore questions. Let's see. Do you think? Let's see. Do you? Okay, but I'm gonna let the. Let's see. I'm like talking ahead of myself. My bad, guys. Let's see. And another question, do you think we will see any fully expanded Soulstorm game with Vikers Labs, Necrom, and Boneworks?
Yeah, and so I'm getting some information in the background as well. And let me just say, Abe got his first chant abilities in Odyssey, but if there was beyond just what IP, was there something more specific as to when he got his abilities? So, that's an easy one to answer as far as which IP, but it's more about, if there's more depth or nuance to the question I'm not aware of.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good lore questions, and lore is good for Lorne. How many voices does Lorne do for the game, and does he ever put on a voice for fun? I've heard of he does put on a voice for fun, guys. It's really funny, and it's confusing. It's confusing. Caroline, I will tell him. I will tell him.
Yeah, I like that.
I think I heard something down there. You? That one. I swear I heard it.
Oh, he does all of the voices. So he's very focused on every single voice in the game. He loves doing them and listening to his warm-up process as he goes through all of the different tonal ranges for the different characters. Just is hilarious, right? And then he'll walk around for a bit in character in the studio, right? Just talking like an Alf or a Toby, right, or an Abe, just to get what he's saying in his mind aligned to the goal. And from there, he just sits down at his desk, and he's got this incredible desk, guys. I mean, it's not, I can't even call it a desk. It's more like a captain's chair out of a starship, right? It is a complete lie flat desk with 3 monitors set up that are massive with a drawing tablet in the middle, and you can recline the entire thing. So it's like if you wanted to lay down and look at the ceiling and paint on one of the tablets, you can, but connected to that is his whole sound design studio. And what I can tell you about Lauren is that he thinks about the details, right? So it's not just like, well, I need to go somewhere for a recording or a studio and I need to hire talent to do this or that. Like when the inspiration strikes, he wants to have everything at a arm's reach to be able to just capture that moment, right? And that translates into what you hear in the game. And so he has like this phenomenal mic and just all of these recording elements right next to him. And so at any moment when he hits that character note, when he's there and he's like, I got it, this is what I want to record, he just sits down at the desk, hits record. And what we get is, really, I would say studio quality sound design work or VO work done right there in real time in the office. And it's like, within, like, when requests come in from the team, we need all of these voices for these things. Watching it all happen in real time is just so fun to be a part of, because normally it's a very production heavy experience, right? Like you hire all these talents and then you go to a studio somewhere off site, and then there's an audio engineer with a balancing board, of just EQ board of all these different things, and he's doing all that stuff. Well, Lauren's doing all that at his desk, right? Just by himself. So I'm not bragging about the man. I'm just always impressed because I can't do that, right? I have other talents, right? That's his, but he will live, real time, do the EQing, do all the voice work, do all the manipulation, and then send off audio files to the audio engineers to get integrated into the game or to find other tweaks. But he does all the processing as well himself, so it's really from the hand of Odd or from Lauren directly right into the game is kind of the one of the direct touch points that Lauren has on the IP experience.
Yeah, and just a couple comments from the community. Caroline wants me to tell you she likes your background, and it's very nice. I said the same thing. And then let's see, someone else had a good question. I apologize. Let's see. Let's see. Any questions about Abe and his chant? That's going to save for Lauren. And guess what? We may have Lauren as a guest very, very soon, so you can get that answer.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know. She's so sweet. Caroline's so sweet. We have a lot of sweet ones. We have a lot of great artists and sweet ones. And let's see. Let's see what else. Okay, technical question. What was the main 3D modeling and animation software used to develop the game? That is Benny's wheelhouse. That's the best one. Oh guys, we're trying to remember this part. Oh, Dur, guys, Dur. Sorry. Boo. Just.
Yeah, so 3D modeling for characters versus environments. Generally, we'll use ZBrush for all of the high poly sculpting work that's done, and that's what I would consider the industry standard for the most part. Maya is predominantly used from an animation standpoint. We did use a little bit of 3D Studio Max early on in environment modeling and other things, but mostly it's Maya, and that's for rigging, that's for all the character animation work, any of the special tooling that we have, or export pipelines that we built directly from Maya into game, like our cinematics, just sharing on that. What was really cool is that the animators could animate everything in Maya, like a complete scene of every single action, every single actor, all of their positions. And one of the cool tools we had that we built internally was there was a one button export for all of it. Normally you have to export like each actor individually, right, into Engine and then place them in the scene based on not getting too technical here, but just like position and rotational offsets. And so it's a manual process, but we had a one-click export button. So the animators could just go in and do incredible work and then just hit export and then go back over to the game, and everything that was there in Maya and their relationship to one another with near perfection was all translated into the game without having to do any manual work. And so I would say the big win in any game production is what we call force multipliers, right? So anytime you can have tools that are one click, you win buttons, right? That's always the big, like, I'm always looking for talent like that when they're building technology for us. It's like, how can we, with small teams like elite or special forces, how can we go in, do excellent work, and compete with the double A and triple A players out there? And it all comes, but we're much smaller scale, it all comes from building tools in Maya and other platforms, so it's super easy for our guys to be creative and not have to do all of that like minutia work that normally goes on that just wastes time and energy.
Yeah. Well, also, Queen Crap wanted to say she loves Oddworld. We're getting a lot of lovely comments. And let's see. A couple more questions because we need to wrap it up. Will there be any prequels for any of the games? And let's see. And then I will give you guys direction of something y'all should do for a giveaway. But Benny, this will be the last question. Will there be any prequels for any of the games? Because Benny's a very busy man. So let him answer that, and then we can let him go. And
we love you back.
Queen Crab, they love you back.
And I'll say, God, we hope so, right? So, we want to see Oddworld's universe grow and expand. We love the current cast, and we want to see them, in new IP. And so our motivation is always driven around how do we do that. So while I can't say definitively yes or no, what I can say is we have a singular goal to do our best to make that happen.
Awesome. All right, guys. I just want to say a big thank you to Bennie Terry. Like I said, it's a dream working with him. One of the best guys I've ever worked with. One of the best guys I know. And if he's ever at an event and you're able to talk to him, do it. Oh no, I just gave up Benny's time. But also, if you guys are interested in signing up for a giveaway, please go to Discord. Please go to our Discord, discord.gg/Oddworld. And I will post a link in just a second. But Benny, thank you so much. I'm going to stay on for a couple more minutes, but love you, man.
Well, we love you, Ashley, and just thank you for the invite here. Really appreciate the time. And to all our fans and to the community out there, I just want to say thank you for standing by us and being here with Oddworld along the journey. So it's been a pleasure being here today.
Yeah. All right. I'll let you get off and go back to your day, but hopefully, guys, we can do this again. Thank you, Benny. There's a little bit of a lag, guys. There's a little bit of a lag. And I'll go ahead and I'll get that Discord for you guys. And he'll head off in a second. Here we go. Let me go ahead and get that for you guys.
Take care. Have a
Take
great
care.
one.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
babe. Bye. Let's see. I'll go ahead and I'll end that. Excuse me real quick, guys. Leave. All right. Guys, that was so much fun. Sorry for some of the technical issues. That was so great. Okay, let me get you guys the link. Let me get you guys the link. Let me give you guys the link. All right. Did you guys have fun? Wasn't that great? Okay. You want to go to that link, guys. And then I'll post this on, let's see. Let me copy that. All right. Let's see if this posted. Okay. And then let me go ahead and post this in Facebook. All right. But seriously, you guys, thank you so much. This was so much fun. And thanks to Dan. He's a behind the scenes guy. And he's been helping me with some of the questions and kind of going through. And I'm sorry that we couldn't get to all of them because they're really, a lot of you had really great questions. But guess what? We are going to have Lauren on as a guest. So all your lore questions, you guys, all your lore questions will be handled by Lauren. I know Benny loved doing this. We've been wanting to do this for a while because we have the best fans in the world. But let's see. Okay. Let's see. That was fun. It was fun. Yes. Lauren actually asked if he could do it. Lauren. Because he's like, hey, what are we doing about interviews? And I'm like, I got this plan and this plan we're doing with Benny. And so we're going to have him on. And hopefully I can have a couple of other people on as well. But Dark, thank you. Shade, thank you. Like, guys, I almost wish we could, like, rent out a stadium and just have people raise their hand or kind of go in a line and ask their questions on a mic. I think that would be so much fun. Wouldn't that be so much fun? Like how they do it at other conventions. Excuse me. But yes, Lauren is planned to be the next guest. We just have to create a time because, you know, he's a business man, as you can tell. But guys, I got to talk more about this desk. This desk. The man, he deserves it. Because if you're going to be creating, 24/7 or voicing 24/7, even though he probably goes to a studio to do that, this chair is the best thing ever. And I'm sure it helps his back. I'm sure it, helps him just get through the day. But yes, he does all his own voices. He overworks himself. There are some times where I'm like, hey, buddy, you want to go to bed? Rehab and tea? All right, I'll tell him. I know. Lauren is, here's the thing about Lauren. Make time. Make time in your day because Lauren loves to talk. I love talking. Lauren loves to talk. He will go on and on and on. Let's see. Yeah, Sudica, don't worry, sweetie. We'll look after ourselves. And then, you guys had such great questions. I'm so bummed we couldn't get to all of them. Don't hate me, guys. Don't hate me. Don't hate me. Don't hate me. All right, guys. I think that's it for me, too. I would like to be back, and we'll start off from here with Lauren. Hopefully sometime soon. I don't want to promise a date. Let's see. All right. I'm getting my heads together. All right. It was great to... Let me get my brain together. Guys, this was so much fun. We will do this again soon. I am playing the PC version today. And we'll come back with more questions and more answers. And this was awesome. And I would love to make this like a monthly thing, honestly. But as you can tell, our company's pretty busy. We don't just sit around going, I don't know what to do today. Also, believe me, that question about an animated series, Lauren is so ready to hop on that. He's so ready to hop on that, y'all. It's just we gotta find someone. Oh my God. Oh, How to get your foot in the door, VA. Well, here's what I can suggest as someone who lives in LA. To be honest, a lot of game side voices are done in studio with just basic. I meant to ask Benny this question, Ashley, if he voiced a mud. We did have some YouTubers do our radios, and that was a marketing decision, and those were big fans, like Ace Trader Lee, and we love him, and I think he got the best one, but I love him. But as for like VA, I would suggest becoming a voice actor. Going doing acting lessons, finding agency, getting a reel done. That is how you get your foot in the door, is by doing the work. And you gotta bug those agencies, man. You gotta go every Tuesday. Hey, I'm looking for representation. Hey, I'm looking for representation. I know this because I've done it. I've done some voiceover, not a lot. I got to get back into it. And I live in LA, and I know other friends who have done voiceover as well. And if you really, because I have some people who want to do voiceover, and it's like, if you want a voiceover for a game company, you got to have a reel, and you got to have experience. Not experience, maybe not a lot, but you got to have something. You know, you got to build up to it. So that's what I suggest for anybody who wants to do voiceover. No. Don't clean. Actually, our toilets are very, very clean. Thank you. So I don't think you have to worry about that. That's just my little tangent about voiceover. But guys, this was awesome. I'm going to log off and go get something to eat. And we'll be back soon. We had a great time. Thank you guys so much. That was awesome. All right, guys. Have a wonderful day.